You paid a plumber to clear that kitchen drain. Maybe it ran you $180, maybe $250, and for about 3 weeks the sink emptied like the house was brand new. Now the water is standing over the strainer again, and you are holding a plunger, wondering what you did wrong. But you did nothing wrong. I have a length of 2-inch kitchen line sitting on my truck tailgate that I cut out of a house last fall. And when you look down the open end of it, that pipe is not clear. There is a tunnel bored straight through the middle of a sleeve of hardened grease, and that tunnel is exactly what your money bought. 35 years I have been doing this. Give me the next 20 minutes and I will show you what is actually living on your pipe walls, why the cheap fix keeps failing on a schedule, and the one thing people pour down a drain trying to help that is quietly wrecking the pipe. Let me start with the part nobody explains on the invoice. When a drain backs up, the picture in your head is a plug. Something round and solid, wedged in the pipe like a cork in a bottle. And the job is to get the cork out. That is the picture, and it is wrong. Almost nothing in a residential drain line works that way. What is actually in there is a sleeve. Over months and years, everything you send down that pipe leaves a thin film on the wall. Grease, soap, coffee grounds, the starch-off pasta water, skin cells, hair, toothpaste, shaving cream. That film goes rancid and turns into what we call biofilm, which is just a scientific way of saying a living slime layer of bacteria bonded to the pipe. It is not sitting loose in the water. It is stuck to the wall like the lint sleeve inside a clothes dryer hose. That sleeve grows inward from all sides. A 2-inch kitchen line does not go from wide open to blocked overnight. It narrows quietly for 2 or 3 years. And one day a chunk of something ordinary comes down and spans the last little opening. That is the day you call. Now here is what a cable machine does. A drain snake is a long steel cable with a cutting head on the end, and it spins down the middle of the pipe. It follows the path of least resistance, which is the water channel, which is the open middle. It hits the blockage, and it drills. Think of coring an apple. You get a clean hole straight through the center, and the whole rest of the apple is untouched. That is your pipe after a standard snake visit. The plug is gone, the water runs, and the drain sounds fantastic. But the sleeve is still on the wall, and the hole through it is maybe 3/4 of an inch of open channel in a 2-inch pipe. A plunger is even less thorough. All it does is shove a slug of water hard enough to dislodge the plug and push it downstream. The sleeve never gets touched. So now you have a pipe with a narrow tunnel through a rough, sticky, greasy sleeve. Ask yourself what happens to the next coffee ground that comes down that tunnel. It does not slide past smooth PVC. It hits a surface with the texture of oatmeal and it sticks. The one after that sticks to it. A clean pipe wall sheds debris. A biofilm sleeve collects it. That is why the clock resets so fast. You did not start over at 3 years. You started over at 3 weeks of open bore on a pipe wall that is now perfectly built to catch things. And that brings me to a part of this business I have never liked. I want to be careful here, because there are a lot of honest drain guys out there, and the cable machine is the tool most of them are handed. But you should understand the economics anyway, because they explain the whole industry. A customer whose drain is truly fixed calls once. A customer whose drain gets a hole punched through it calls in the spring, and again in the fall, and again the next spring. At $200 a visit, that second customer is worth more over 5 years than a kitchen remodel. In the trade, those are called maintenance accounts, and shops absolutely track them. Nothing about that is illegal, and usually it is not even deliberate. The cable machine is fast, cheap to run, and gets water moving today, which is what the panicked homeowner on the phone is asking for. But quick and thorough are 2 different jobs. and you are paying for the quick one without knowing there was a choice. So the fix is not a better plumber. The fix is understanding which pattern of recurrence you actually have, because there are 4 of them and they do not respond to the same treatment. Pattern 1 is grease, and it is the king of kitchen lines. Cooking grease fools people for a simple reason. When it goes down the drain, it is hot and liquid, and it looks exactly like water going down. Bacon fat, the oil you drained off ground beef, the film you rinse off a roasting pan with hot water. It moves like liquid for the first several feet, so your eyes tell you it left the building. It did not leave the building. It cooled. Grease stays liquid while it is warm, and it turns solid the second it drops below body temperature. So it flows merrily through the trap under your sink, still hot, and then it reaches the first place the pipe gets cold. Usually, that is where the line leaves the heated part of your house. Under a slab, out through a crawl space, in the joist bay along an exterior wall, or right at the point where your branch line ties into the main. Cold pipe, warm grease. It plates out on the wall like candle wax running down a candlestick and hardening halfway. Then it does something worse. Fat Plus, the alkaline stuff in dish soap and detergent, goes through a slow chemical reaction and turns into a hard, soapy solid. Municipal crews pull chunks of it out of sewers the size of concrete blocks. It is a rock, and it forms right at that cool joint in the exact same spot every single time, which is why the grease clog has a signature you can recognize. It comes back in the same place, it comes back on roughly the same schedule, and it is always worse in winter when the pipe outside your heated envelope runs colder. If your kitchen sink slows down every January, you do not have bad luck. You have a cold joint packed with saponified fat. Pattern 2 lives in your bathroom, and it works completely differently. Bathroom lines do not clog from grease. They clog from hair and soap scum working as a team, and honestly, the hair is not even the main villain. What happens is a strand of hair hangs up on something. The crossbar in the drain, the pop-up stopper linkage, a rough spot in the trap. One strand does nothing, but that strand catches the next one, and now you have a little net. Meanwhile, the soap you use is depositing scum, and scum is sticky. It cements the strands together and glues the mat to the pipe wall. So you end up with a woven mat anchored in place right where the water has to pass. Conditioner and body oils make it worse because they are essentially soft grease, and shaving cream and razor residue pack into the weave. The frustrating part is that it is almost always within the first foot of the drain. I have pulled mats the size of a hamster out of a tub shoe, and the homeowner had already paid somebody to snake the whole line. The snake went right past the problem, following the water channel through the middle of the mat and coring it out just like the grease sleeve. Quick pause. If this pipe wall explanation just made your recurring clog make sense, my book, 50 Easy Plumbing, Fixes That Will Save You. $10,000 walks you through 50 repairs you can knock out on a Saturday with basic tools, and it tells you when a quote is inflated and when a job is safe to do yourself. Scan the QR code on your screen. Pattern 3 does not have a happy fix, and I have to be honest with people about that. If your house went up before roughly the mid-1960s and nobody has repiped it, your drains may be galvanized steel, which is steel with a protective zinc coating. The zinc wears off from the inside first, and the bare steel starts corroding. Corroded steel does not rust smooth. It rusts into a crusty, pitted interior with the texture of a coral reef, and every pit is a snag point. The scale takes up volume too, so the pipe runs narrower than the day it went in. I have cut out 1.5-inch galvanized line with 1/2 inch of open bore left. That matters for your recurring clog, because everything I am about to tell you assumes a scoured wall ends up slick. You cannot make corroded steel slick. The roughness is not a coating on the pipe. It is the pipe. Jetting will blast the debris out and buy you real time, but the surface underneath is still a cheese grater. If that is your situation, Maintenance is holding the line rather than solving it, and the real answer is replacing that pipe. On a branch line inside a house, expect $1,000 to $3,000 depending on access. I would rather you know you are managing a condition than keep paying for visits that were never going to fix it. Pattern 4 is the one I want you to burn into your memory because people miss the warning sign constantly. If your backup shows up after heavy rain or gets worse in spring and fall, stop thinking about your kitchen. That is a mainline symptom, and the usual cause is tree roots. Your main sewer line runs under the yard full of warm, nutrient-rich water, which to a tree root system is a buffet. Roots find the tiniest weep at a joint and send in a hair-thin tendril that swells into a mass inside the pipe, and it ends up looking like a bottle brush growing sideways out of the wall. The rain connection is straightforward. Saturated ground drives root growth, and if the line is cracked, groundwater adds volume the pipe was never sized to carry. So a line that limps along in July gives up in April. A snake will cut a channel through a root mass. The water runs, and everybody feels good. Then the roots keep growing, because the tree is alive and the crack is still there, and you are back in 6 to 18 months. Roots are a pipe integrity problem wearing a drain cleaning costume, and nothing you buy at a hardware store will solve them. All right, that is what is going wrong. Now the ladder that ends the cycle, starting at the rung that changes everything else. Rung 1 is to scour the pipe wall instead of poking a hole through it. The tool for that is hydrojetting. A jetter runs a high-pressure hose down the line with a nozzle that fires water backward at the pipe wall, which drags the hose forward and blasts the wall clean all the way around to bare pipe. It is a pressure washer for the inside of your drain. The difference is not subtle. A snake gives you a channel through a sleeve, while a jetter removes the sleeve. So when that hose comes back out, you have your full bore and a slick wall that sheds debris instead of grabbing it. A standard snake visit runs about $150 to $250. Jetting a residential line typically runs $350 to $600, so yes, roughly double. But run the math the way I run it on a job. If snaking buys you 4 months and jetting buys you 4 years, the snake costs $600 a year and the jetter costs about $100 to $25. The cheap visit is the expensive option, and it is expensive quietly, one invoice at a time, which is why nobody notices. One caution. On badly corroded, galvanized, or old clay tile, a good operator drops a camera first and may dial the pressure back or rule jetting out. If somebody wants to jet an 80-year-old line sight unseen, get a second opinion. Rung 2 is monthly enzyme or bacterial treatment, and this is the one that keeps the wall clean once you have it clean. These are not drain cleaners in the way you are thinking, with no acid, no lye, and no heat. What is in the bottle is live bacteria and enzymes that eat organic material, meaning grease, soap scum, hair proteins, and food residue. They digest the film before it becomes a sleeve. A quart runs about $10, lasts several months, and any hardware store carries a version. The application matters more than the brand, and almost everybody gets it wrong. Pour it in last thing at night into a drain that has already been used so the pipe is wet, and let nobody touch that fixture until morning. The bacteria need hours of contact against the wall. Run the tap right after and you just paid $10 to feed the sewer plant. Same night every month, so you remember. Rung 3 is a weekly flush on kitchen lines, and it costs nothing. Once a week, plug the sink, fill it most of the way, with the hottest water your tap will give you. Add a good squirt of dish soap and pull the plug. Volume is the part that matters. A trickle from the faucet only wets the bottom of the pipe, while a full sink dumping at once fills the bore and scrubs the whole circumference on the way down. and the soap keeps the softened grease in suspension long enough to leave the building. I tell people to do it on trash night. Rung 4 is mesh strainers. A fine mesh sink strainer runs about $3, and a tub or shower hair catcher is about the same. Put one on every drain in the house. That is around $15 to cover a whole home, and it stops the largest single source of clog material before it ever enters the pipe. The catch is that you have to keep them in. People pull them because the sink drains slower. Live with the slower sink. Rung 5 is the grease habit, and for a kitchen line, it is the highest leverage item on the list. Keep an empty jar or a coffee can under the sink. Bacon grease, drained beef fat, roasting pan drippings, fryer oil. All of it goes in the jar, and the jar goes in the trash when it fills. Wipe the greasy pan with a paper towel first. That is the whole habit, and if your pattern is a winter kitchen clog, this one change does more than everything else combined, because you are cutting off the supply instead of cleaning up after it. Now, if you do all of that and the drain still keeps backing up, the problem is no longer the wall. It is the pipe itself, and you need eyes down there. A camera inspection runs about $150 to $300, and a lot of shops credit it against the repair. A technician feeds a self-lighting camera down the line, and you watch the screen in real time, which I recommend. Ask for the footage before you agree to anything. That inspection commonly finds one of two things. The first is roots, and now you can see whether it is one bad joint or 40 feet of failing line. The second is a belly, a section where the pipe has sagged below its slope. Water pools there, solids drop out of suspension, and you get a clog that reforms in the same place, no matter how well you clean it. Neither is fixable with maintenance, and both will happily absorb an unlimited number of $200 snake visits without getting better. $300 to find out you have a belly is the cheapest money you will ever spend on that line. 2 cautions before I let you go, and the second one is the thing I teased at the top. The first is caustic drain crystals, the granular products made from sodium hydroxide or sulfuric acid. Never put crystals into a drain with standing water in it. The chemical generates real heat as it reacts, so you end up with a pool of scalding caustic sitting on a clog that is not moving. Plunge it, and you are splashing lye at your own face. And if the plumber opens that trap an hour later, he catches it in the hands. Tell the plumber right away if you poured something. The second is boiling water, and it bothers me because people do it with the best intentions. Every list online says to pour a kettle of boiling water down the drain to melt grease. If your drain lines are PVC, do not do that. PVC begins to soften with sustained heat approaching 140 degrees, and boiling water is well past 200. A single kettle probably will not blow a joint, but doing it weekly softens the material and stresses the glued joints, and the failure shows up as a slow drip inside a wall or under a slab, which is a far more expensive problem than the clog. The hottest water from your tap runs around 120 to 140 degrees, plenty hot to soften grease and safe for the pipe. That is why the weekly flush uses a full sink of hot tap water instead of a kettle. You get the volume without cooking your plumbing. So here is the whole decision, laid out plain. If the clog comes back within weeks or months, you have a sleeve on the wall. So jet it once and hold it with enzymes. The weekly flush, strainers, and the grease jar. If it comes back in the same spot no matter what you do, or it tracks with rain, get a camera down there before you spend another $1 on cleaning. And if the pipe is old galvanized, budget for replacement on your own timeline instead of on the timeline of an emergency at 9 at night. One last thing. If keeping money in your pocket instead of handing it to an emergency call appeals to you, 50 Easy Plumbing. Fixes that will save you. $10,000 is built for that, with 50 projects in plain steps and no upselling. Scan the QR code on screen. And subscribe to the Mark Silverbridge channel for honest plumbing help that keeps your money where it belongs.